Good evening, everybody. Oh, I don't know why you keep getting muted.
I'm certainly not clicking it, but
Yeah,
hello, hello.
yeah. Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder.
Yes, and we have returned from a week off because one of us had a birthday.
Yeah, which was very inconsiderate of one of us,
Yes, yeah, but
especially to have it fall on a Wednesday like that.
yeah. Well, to be fair, my birthday is also on a Wednesday, so it's not till
Mm.
June. But yeah, but we have returned and we've got some healthy smattering of reviews from our first jaunt into free streaming services, specifically the Tubi. Although we'll probably expand into like Pluto and YouTube free and all that stuff. But
Right, right. Just based on what has things that seem interesting to watch.
right,
And
yes, yeah,
speaking of things that are somewhat interesting to watch,
yes. Our first review of the night, Bloodsport.
the Jean-Claude Van Damme classic? Question mark.
Yeah, question mark. Yeah. And hey, Arcos, good to see you.
Hey, hey.
Oh, his birthday's on a Tuesday. Huh? Uh, but yes, the yeah. Uh, well, I mean, there is a reason this movie usually shows up on the like best of the worst or so bad it's good, and on lists.
Yep, and it's a very simple story that is allegedly based on a true story. I didn't bother looking into it, but I have a feeling that it's probably
Yeah,
exaggerated a few things.
yeah. I kind of did a little cursory research, and yeah, it does seem that it has been somewhat exaggerated. Uh, but yes, so Bloodsport is I would say not Van Damme's first movie, but probably his first starring role in a movie.
Yeah. As
Uh,
far as I'm aware, it's the one that put him on the map, at least.
right, yeah. Of course, the movie was produced by Canon Films, the infamous Canon Films.
Infamous. That's like it's better than famous, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yes, the kings of low budget B movie level schlock in the 1980s.
Which,
Uh,
sheesh, 1.5 to 2.3 million on a budget made 50 million.
yeah, yeah, they were Golan and Globus were really good at that, and although they were making like 40 movies a year, I think, or something outrageous like that. Um, but if you're interested, there is a documentary about Canon Films. I've seen it on Amazon pop up there a few times because I think MGM bought all of their catalog
Mm.
when the company went under. Um, and Argo says it's a Van Damme classic if you like his movies. Well, after this one, I don't know how much further I wanted to journey into the Van Damme filmography.
Yeah. So this one is a very simple premise. Jean-Claude Van Damme plays a some sort of army guy. I forget exactly what.
Yeah,
Uh,
some army. Yeah, yeah. He's somebody in the army. Yeah.
and he's a martial artist, and his teacher is dying, and his last wish is for him to go and compete in the kumite.
Yes, which is a very secretive underground fighting tournament. And for those of you wondering, yes, the creators of Mortal Kombat were heavily inspired by this movie for their video game.
Yes, that I didn't know that for certain, but I kept thinking to myself that this like that guy just looks like I think Liu Kang is the guy's name. I'm not a Mortal Kombat super fan, sorry,
Oh,
but
yeah. Oh, you mean the bad guy?
yeah,
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung. Like,
Yeah.
that guy looks so much like Shang Tsung.
Yeah. And yeah, and well, yeah, and Johnny Cage was inspired by Van Damme. Um,
So it's had some cultural impact at least.
yes, yeah. Arco says the quest was better. haven't seen the Quest, so I can't say anything about it. But yeah. So Van Damme plays his name is Frank Dukes, and yeah, he goes to Hong Kong to compete in the Kumite, and yes, it's very paint by numbers. It's he makes a buddy who's another fighter in there. His name's Jackson. And I've actually seen that actor before in something else, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah. He's a biker type, like a big bruiser, rather than being a super controlled martial artist.
Yeah.
The movie is really just an excuse to watch different high-end martial artists do a variety of stunts, like destroying blocks, destroying the top block, but none of the blocks beneath. Van Damme doing his splits stunt over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course there is a like romance subplot in there where he meets this reporter who's trying to report on the Kumite, and then she's she gets really attached to him and like, I don't want you fighting in this, you could get killed, and
Your buddy got hurt too, and now you're gonna go get revenge on the villain.
yeah. Yes, another 80s cliche or movie cliche.
Yeah. Like this is like if Rocky 4 is like a or actually this could be the plot of Rocky 3 or 4, I suppose.
Yeah.
But if Rocky 3 or 4 is like a fine ribeye steak, this is like a Wendy's hamburger without any seasoning.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff in the movie, we were talking about it before, a lot of the stuff in the movie is just laughable.
Yeah, like it's made with such a lack of self-consciousness that you very rarely see anymore because people are so self-conscious. But like there's a few reaction images of Van Damme with his eyes just wide open and him screaming, which in context is because he got hit with some sort of blinding powder when the bad guy decides to start cheating.
Yeah.
It's like that's why his eyes don't look focused, is because he's supposed to be blind. So yeah, I kept thinking to myself, he can't really deliver dialogue in English, and he's not like the best actor in general. He's just like a good martial artist, but he does a very good job of convincingly looking like he's not looking at anything in particular because he can't see.
Yeah.
Like I thought that's like the one part of his performance that's actually impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. The acting overall in this movie is just so appallingly bad, and like the only one that seemed like really convincing was the guy who plays his buddy.
Yep, and there was also a young Forrest Whitaker in a largely pointless subplot where the military is trying to catch him because he did go AWOL.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think what was they also have this like really bad flashback sequence when they show him and his buddies breaking into the sensei's house to steal the sword.
And like, which is how he ended up being taught by the sensei. But the kid actor in that just looked so lost.
Yeah, he did. And, well, what kills me too is that like the American part of it takes place in San Francisco, and the kid that's playing Van Damme, as a kid, he's wearing a San Francisco Giants hat, but the shirt he's wearing is actually a New York Giants shirt.
I didn't notice that. It's also like, no hint of an accent for that kid.
No, not at all. Oh god, man.
Yeah. Like I'll say that Jean-Claude Van Damme was harder to understand in many scenes than what I'm assuming are local Hong Kong actors who were brought in to be different parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Also, I kept hearing this in I don't know if this was part of the soundtrack or a sound effect in there. Was there supposed to be a donkey in that scene? Because I kept hearing a donkey braying periodically.
I don't know. I don't remember. maybe I don't. Yeah, that's probably.
There are just a lot of baffling decisions in this one.
Yes, and the laughably cheesy music.
Yes, this is like it is almost worth watching, especially if you because you can watch it on Tubi with some ads thrown in periodically
Yeah.
and not have to spend money on it. Like it's worth a laugh, but I would say like this is not one to watch by yourself. You would ideally want to be
No.
with a few friends who could be making fun of it and just laughing as you go.
Yes, and maybe partaking in some adult beverages as well.
Yep.
Make it a little more uh viewable, watchable. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but that is, I think, about all we have to say about this particular movie.
Yes.
Um, Now, to get away from the free thing, because this required purchasing a PlayStation 5 and a premium video game.
Yes. Yes.
Daniel, you did the second of the Final Fantasy VII remakes.
Yes. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Which I will say I haven't completed the game yet. I'm maybe at the halfway point. I'm not entirely sure. Because
Yeah,
this game,
he's only put 60 hours into it. The slacker.
well, I don't know if I put 60 hours into it, but I put a lot of hours into it. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, it might be 60 hours total. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it's a long ass game. It's a long ass game. Um, but yeah, so Rebirth takes place like shortly after the events of Remake, where our band of heroes consisting of Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, and Red 13. They've left Midgar to explore the rest of the places in the planet. And it starts off, the prologue for the game is when they're at the hotel in Calm, and Cloud is retelling the story of when he worked with Sephiroth, and they went to him and Tifa's hometown, and the events that transpired there were Sephiroth finds out more about his own origins, and then he finds Genoa, who's his mother, and then he destroys the town, kills Cloud's mom, hurts Tifa, which don't ever hurt Tifa, and yeah, so that they retell that story. And of course, Tifa, when she's listening to it, she's kind of like, she's talking to Aerith afterwards, and he's like, Cloud wasn't actually there when all of that was happening. And if you play the original game, you kind of have some idea of what she's talking about. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard people give some guff to Final Fantasy X for its main character technically being a hallucination. But
yeah.
Final Fantasy VII isn't much less weird.
No, it isn't. No, yeah. Yeah, and so then so from there, how the events transpire is they start seeing these guys in wearing black hooded robes, and they're moaning, kind of zombie like, but not really. And they're basically following them around from one area to another to another. This is, by the way, this is how far I've gotten. And excuse me. And of course, you kind of get more details about the story as you go, but also in each area, it's an open world game, and so you've got a lot of side quests and things to do in each area. There is a lot of grinding that takes place in this game, like an insane amount, to the point where it's like it's almost not fun. if I'm being honest.
So what's the combat system like in this one? I know they got away from the what do you
Yeah,
call it? The turn-based.
yeah. It's well, actually, it's like the last game where you can do turn-based, but you can also do this other new system where it's basically more action-oriented, and you can also issue commands to the other party members, and you can also take control of the other party members. That part of it's great. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that part of it's fun, but it's just the enormous amount of and every area has the same like different side quests and different things that you have to do, and and it falls into it kind of what am I trying to say? Uh, it's it's hitting on a pet peeve of mine that I have with RPGs, where uh, you do a side quest. So, typical side quest, you go to an NPC. NPC wants you to do something, and NPC will give you a reward for doing said thing. And depending on the difficulty of the quest, the greater the rewards you get, or the better the rewards you get. Well, in this game, it's starting to do this where you go and you do side quests for NPC, you go back and report back to them, and then they give you the reward, but then they'll say, "Hey, I got this other thing I need to do. Can you do that for me too?"
All right, so they're just getting greedy.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like you're taking advantage of my generosity. so yeah. So that's getting frustrating, and I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, I just want to do the main story. I just want to find out what's going on. I want to fight Sephiroth. I want to go on a date with Tifa. Come on. I haven't even gotten to that part of the game yet.
Oh, the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, the golden saucer. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. I haven't even gotten to that part yet. Like. Well, although I will say, real quick, Yuffie does show up.
Does she come off better or worse than in the original game?
I'd say slightly better. She's not quite as annoying. But yeah, but yeah, she shows up, and it's she kind of pops in there every now occasionally to kind of like cause mischief, but then where I'm at in the game, she's joined the party full time. Now I don't know if any of the other characters show up in this game, like Vincent Valentine or Sid Highwind. That show up though. I've seen the Highwind.
So what it kind of sounds to me like, and you can correct me here, it kind of sounds like they've kind of, and I'm going to use a not YouTube friendly word here, they've kind of enshittified the game process, not in the sense that it's necessarily a bad game, but they've like added a lot of inconvenience to the game.
Yes. Yes, that is a great way to characterize it. Yeah, it is a beautiful game. The graphics are really great. The story, from what I've seen of it so far, is good. And I like the combat system and the gameplay. But yeah, there's just too many side quests, too much unnecessary stuff that you have to do in between all of that.
And my understanding is that this was a very expensive game to make. So that could just be them going, well, we can't exactly charge $70 for a 3-hour game.
Yeah, so we got to make this massive open world game in the vein of something like Cyberpunk 2077. But at least with that game, they didn't do what my pet peeve, which was do side mission, and then get rewarded, and then that's it. That's Cyberpunk right there. But this, no, this that's what BioWare was doing, by the way, with like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. And it's just like, come on. But I will. I mean, I've already invested so much time into this game already that it's kind of no turning back. I got to find out what happens, but it does affect replayability though.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of. It sounds like it's not made for people who have like a job.
No, no, it isn't. No, it's definitely made for people who like can play video games for 7 hours a day.
Well, I'm glad it hasn't caused you to rage quit yet.
Yeah.
As we know, there are games that are played that just destroy everyone around them, which is my attempt at a half-assed transition to what I would call our first serious movie/media item of the day.
Yes. Yeah, the Man in the Iron Mask, which has a very interesting history, because I don't know about you, DB, but I remember when this movie came out, and I want to say it was Leonardo DiCaprio's first movie after Titanic. And I want to say Titanic was still in the theaters when this movie came out. And I immediately prejudiced me against this movie because
right, well, that was peak Leo mania, right? So
oh yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, and well, I mean, yeah, you were around during that time. I mean, how many girls at your school were just like totally in love with the guy?
I'll admit that never really came up in conversation with anybody, but I knew it as like a reputational thing. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's why they kept Titanic in theaters for like a month, or excuse me, for a year.
Yeah, long time, yeah. But yeah, I mean, when I was in school, I mean, there was hardly a girl that I went to school with who didn't have pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio in her locker. Like, just almost every single one of them had it, that was the case. And and as such, the marketing for this movie was all centered around him, obviously. And so, and by the way, I didn't know that this movie was a Three Musketeers movie until all the girls that went and saw Titanic went and saw this movie, and they were like, "Oh, it's a Three Musketeers movie." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I would have liked to have known that beforehand.
Right, you were like, "Wait, that actually sounds somewhat interesting."
Yeah. And not just the Three Musketeers, but the Three Musketeers as old guys.
Right. So I will admit, I'm not a Three Musketeers expert. Like I couldn't name any of them in advance, but the movie actually does a really nice job of setting up who's who at the zoo early on. So,
oh yeah,
they seem to understand that that possible downside.
oh yeah. Well, and to be fair, like, I think this was like the first Three Musketeers movie that they had made since like the Disney one that they did in the 90s with it was with Kiefer Sutherland, Charlie Sheen, Chris O'Donnell, Tim Curry played the villain in that movie.
That sounds very familiar. I'm sure I saw that one, and I think I even at a few points while watching this wondered if it was the same movie before concluding it couldn't possibly be.
Yeah. Although part of me wonders if it wasn't in the same continuity. I don't think it is. But yeah, so this movie takes place. Cameron, did they say what year it took place in? It was like
no. We know that it takes place before the reign of Louis XIV, I believe.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, Louis XIV is played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Although he's actually playing dual roles.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to do spoilers on this one because it is an old movie, and it's kind of hard to talk about the premise of this movie without getting into spoilers.
Right.
If you want a quick, bite-sized opinion, this is a worthwhile film to watch because it's got some really nice performances, and it's just a movie like it takes itself refreshingly seriously. Is the way I'll put it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it tonally and everything. It kind of reminded me of another movie that came out around the same time, The Mask of Zorro, which might be another movie we want to review at some point. Kind of a similar premise and similar vibe to it. But yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, there are parts of it that were for me that were kind of like okay, you know. I will say some of the dialogue was a little cheesy in places, but
Right. It's I would say it's like very theatrical and not like movie theatrical, more like
yeah.
um theater kid theatrical.
Yeah, it's well, it was written in. I didn't realize this until now, but it was written and directed by Randall Wallace,
Hmm.
who is the writer and director of We Were Soldiers, and he was also the writer on Braveheart. So
Okay, that tracks.
yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, it's a good movie. I dare say probably one of I mean, although granted, I've only seen two movies with the Three Musketeers, so definitely the better Three Musketeers movie. Um, but yeah, no, definitely check it out. Like all of our movies that we're reviewing tonight, it's on Tubi. So, um,
Yep. You
okay,
just have
so
to suffer through a few ads to watch it.
yes, yeah, okay, so spoilers. Leonardo DiCaprio plays Louis the 14th. He's a young king, but he's very cruel and really just doesn't care about anyone except himself. And then we are introduced or reintroduced, depending on your perspective, to the Three Musketeers, who are all retired from being musketeers. And for those of you who don't know, the musketeers were the king's bodyguards.
Right.
Um,
And this the series is like focused on swashbuckling and adventure and what have you.
right. Alexander Dumas was the creator and the author of all the books. I don't know. I don't know how many of them he wrote. He wrote quite a few of them. But yeah, so they're all retired, and we meet Porthos, who is played by the only actor in there who's actually French. It-
Sidebar, it was just funny, like hilarious to me how you had like nobody had an agreed upon accent.
yeah,
Yeah, you got Gerard Depardieu as Porthos, who's
yeah,
kind of like he kind of gets the least to do in this movie. He's kind of the comic relief.
yeah. Which that's kind of how he is with the series. Yeah, he's the lovable drunk and womanizer
Womanizer.
and
Yep, yep.
yeah, yeah. Uh, then we meet Aramis, who is played by Jeremy Irons, and he's the religious one, deeply devout Catholic. He's left, he's not a musketeer anymore, and he's now being joined the priesthood. And then we also meet D'Artagnan, who in the first Three Musketeers, he's the one who's like a really young guy, and he wants to join the Musketeers, and that's when he meets the Three Musketeers and joins them on their adventures. But he's now the captain of the Musketeers, and he shows up because the king wants to speak with Aramis, and the king tells Aramis that he wants to find the general of the Jesuits. And for those of you who aren't familiar with like history, like Catholic history or Christian history, anything like that, the Jesuits were basically. I had a history teacher in high school basically compare them to like the special forces. They were like the special forces for the Catholic Church. Um,
That tracks. Like it was basically like they were like a counter reformational thing.
right. Yeah. And yeah, so Louis wants Aramis to find the general of the Jesuits because they don't, he doesn't know who he is, but he wants him to find the general and kill him. Uh, then, uh, then later on, we meet or we re-meet Athos, who is played by John Malkovich.
Who, John Malkovich is a fine actor, but he might have been like one of the least fitting actors in the whole movie.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with that. Yeah. But yeah, he's there with his son Raoul, and his son is about to become a musketeer, and he's about to propose to his lady love, Christine. And of course, they're all out there at Versailles, where the king's having this like little shindig. But Christine catches the king's eye, and the king's like, okay, I want her. Even though he can have any woman in the kingdom, he wants that woman. He wants,
right, it has to be her.
It has to be her. And but then I don't know if this is really the best comparison, but this is the only one best one I can come up with. King Louis basically pulls a King David.
I had the same thought on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, he basically they're very vague about what the war is, I think, as I recall.
Yeah, I want to say it was Netherlands, I think.
That sounds right, like the Low Countries. Like the French were always trying to stir up troubles there.
Yeah. The king sends Raoul off to the front in the Netherlands so that he can seduce Christine. Athos hears about it from D'Artagnan, and Athos is rightfully ticked off. And then Raoul gets killed in a battle, and Athos is angry, and he goes and tries to kill the king, but D'Artagnan stops him. And then from there, Aramis sets up a meeting with all four of them, with Athos, Porthos, and D'Artagnan. And he admits that Aramis is actually the Jesuit general who's been acting against the king. And he tells him that he's got a plan to overthrow the king and replace him with someone else.
Right. You go, how would you do that? Somebody's sure to notice. Like, you see,
Yes.
the king had a good twin brother.
Yes. and he is the man in the iron mask.
Title drop.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so to go back a little bit, Leonardo DiCaprio, his performance as King Louis kind of didn't feel right because he was the only one besides John Malkovich who wasn't doing some sort of accent. Like most people were kind of going for like that sort of affected generic British accent, I guess is how I'd put it.
Yeah.
John Malkovich just kind of sounded like himself, but talking like 10% more fancy. Leo just literally like sounded like himself. Like he sounded like he'd just come off the boat from Titanic.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So it's like I was just very unimpressed by his performance as King Louis. Then you get to him as his brother. And man, you just felt so bad for him.
Yeah, he was dealt a really bad hand. Yeah.
Because basically they didn't kill him, but that would have almost been kinder than what they actually did to him.
Yeah, they put his head in an iron mask and just left him like that. Yeah.
They just shoved him in a prison somewhere to die.
Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering, it's kind of loosely based on a true story. So there was a man who wore an iron mask who was in the Bastille right around this time period, and nobody knew who he was or where he came from. And that's I assume that's where Alexander Dumas got the idea for the story. But yeah, it's yeah, you feel bad for the guy because he's just like he hasn't seen sunlight in ages, so he hasn't been getting his vitamin D.
Right, he was just the moans of pain that he produces whenever he's in the mask are just heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
So Leo definitely started impressing me as soon as he was playing the twin.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, so basically the whole plan is they basically swap brothers. You know, they take
Right, that's their objective at least. Is
right,
the
that's the
plan is
objective, yeah.
right? We have an unworthy king. How do we get a worthy king? Oh, we'll swap him out for the spare king.
Right. And of course Athos isn't too happy with that plan because he wants, he wants to be like Robespierre and guillotines, and off with their heads, But but yeah, then and of course the other part of it too is with D'Artagnan, who's he's played by Gabriel Byrne, who I've seen him in quite a few movies. Most people remember him from The Usual Suspects, uh, but uh, he's very protective of the king, and to the point where like he doesn't go along with the other Musketeers' plan, and you really, yeah, you don't find out until the end of the movie why that is.
Which, another layer of spoiler. Yeah, we'll just let people find that out if they decide to go watch it.
Right.
It
Yeah.
it seemed like it was pretty well set up,
Yeah.
and it's like it's always interesting when you have these monarchy situations where you have the person who is like loyal to the idea of the king, even if the current king isn't worthy.
Yeah.
It reminds me of this story I heard of a samurai who received an order, refused to carry it out, and when he was asked to account for himself, his response was basically, "Well, the order was unworthy of you, so I know you must not have sent it."
Uh,
It, it's exactly that sort of struggle.
yeah. 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 But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say this is a decent movie to watch, especially if you're a history nut and you like, movies like this, and you're into swashbuckling adventures type stories. Yeah.
Yep. I would say like we compared it earlier to the 90s Zorro movies. They are
Yeah.
definitely less fun than those.
Yeah.
Or it's definitely less fun. Like it's got more drama and higher stakes.
Right. Yeah. And it does get dark in a few places.
Yeah, there might be a few self deletions over the course of the movie.
Yeah. And one attempted one, which is kind of done for comedy.
Yeah, that and poor Porthos.
Yeah. uh, yeah. But yeah. Yeah, go check it out on Tubi.
Yeah. And then finally, a movie that doesn't shy away from asking the question, what about Bob?
What about Bob? Yes, and I dressed appropriately for this review. My father has the same shirt, and I haven't worn it out in public yet, but my dad has worn his, and we do it because we live in Central Florida, which is a very tourist heavy area, so it fits for us.
Yep.
But yeah, but this movie, yeah. What about Bob? This is with at least within my family, this was a favorite watch for us. Just a real quick story about that. So how we discovered it was my father. In his job, he used to travel a lot overseas, and so he was on planes all the time. And of course, on overseas trips, they always show movies. And on one of these flights, he's sitting there, and he was actually thought about going to sleep, but then he looked at the movie and on the screen, and of course, the opening of the movie shows the goldfish swimming around. And when my dad saw that, he thought the movie was A Fish Called Wanda, which is
another fine movie.
Which is another great movie, yeah. But he saw it and he went, "Oh, I've already seen that movie." So he was trying to go to sleep, but then he started hearing all the passengers on the plane start laughing, and not just like chuckling, laughing, but like guttural, rolling on the floor, laughing. So he started watching it, and it was this movie. So he ended up watching it, and he was like everybody else on the plane. He was laughing his butt off, but of course he didn't get any sleep on the flight.
Kind of a downside, yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah, but he watched a great movie. But yeah, What About Bob is the story of Bob Wiley, who is played by Bill Murray, and Bob's got problems.
Yes, it, if there's a social anxiety related phobia, he's got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the first like 5 minutes of the movie or 10 minutes of the movie, you discover that he's agoraphobic. He doesn't want to go outside. He's germophobic. He's got to touch everything with a Kleenex, and he's also claustrophobic because he didn't want to go up in the elevator.
Yep. And so he just ends up climbing the stairs.
Yeah, 40 floors.
Yep. So that's your I believe you mentioned that Bob was played by Bill Murray, but we'll just reiterate. Bill Murray plays Bob Wiley, who is apparently named after Wile E. Coyote. Because the dynamic of Chaser and Chasey was part of the inspiration for the movie.
Yeah.
And his regular psychiatrist is like, so the psychiatrist calls up and is talking with Richard Dreyfuss's character Leo Marvin, Dr. Leo Marvin, and from the dialogue, I got the impression that he was trying to make it sound like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going for a weekend. And it looked like he was packing up his office.
Yeah.
Because he no longer wishes to deal with Bob and his extreme cleanliness.
Yes. So he pawns him off on Leo Marvin, and of course, Leo. And right off the bat, you can tell Dr. Leo Marvin is just completely full of himself.
Complete stuffed shirt. He's peddling in pop psychology, trying to sell his book.
Yeah. His book's called Baby Steps, which comes up a lot throughout the course of the movie. But yeah, so Bob shows up, and of course, Bob is Bob. He just starts acting up and telling him all this stuff. And what the part that I like is when he says, or he's like, well, if I fake it, I don't have it. Like he's pretends he has Tourette's and he has a heart attack. And Leo Marvin asks him, "Are you married?" He's like, "I'm divorced." Like, okay, well, what happened there? Like, there are two kinds of people in this world: people who like Neil Diamond and people who don't. She liked Neil Diamond. And Leo Marvin says, "Well, maybe your wife left you because of all of your neuroses and your, phobias and everything, and you didn't leave her because she likes Neil Diamond." He's like, "Oh,
I never thought of it like that."
Well, yeah. He's like, "Oh, ow." just ow.
Yep. So Leo took this patient on just as like a favor to his buddy who he thought was going out of town.
Yeah.
And he thinks, okay, I just saw this guy once, favor done. I can wash my hands of this and move on with my life.
Right. And and the other part of it too is of course Leo Marvin's going on vacation, because he's going because apparently I guess it's a thing in New York where psychiatrists all take the month of August off and they go off to Martha's Vineyard or the Hamptons or
which I can only say, if I was paying an hourly rate for a psychiatrist and I found out that he could afford to take a month-long vacation in those prissy areas, I would really question where my fees were going.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah. But yeah, but Bob is just like, "You're going on vacation?" He's like, "Well, yeah, he's going away for a month," and then he guys said, "Well, we'll I'll come back to my office on after Labor Day," but then of course Bob, being Bob, he can't take the separation from from Leo, so he does this whole concocts this whole scheme to try to find out where Leo Marvin is, and finds out he's up in Lake Winnipesaukee, which is in New Hampshire,
via an extremely elaborate series of lies.
Yeah. And Yeah, so he ends up getting on a bus, although it takes him a while to get on the bus because he's claustrophobic. He heads up to Lake Winnipesaukee, and who kills me is when he gets off the bus, all the other passengers start cheering like,
Yeah.
yeah, and we find, of course, Leo Marvin is up in Lake Winnipesaukee with his family, his wife Faye, who's played by Julie Haggerty.
Who's always a delight in these sorts of quiet supporting roles.
Yes, yeah. Most people remember her from Airplane.
Or if you're cultured, noise is off.
Yes, noise is off, right? Excuse me. And then in his he has his teenage daughter. What was her name?
So
Anna.
it was
Anna.
Yeah.
His daughter Anna, who the actress was actually who plays the daughter. She was on one of the Law and Order shows for a while.
Okay.
And then and just to show how egotistical Leo Marvin is, he named his son Sigmund.
Yeah, okay, so Sigmund Freud has been very debunked for a long time, or at least psychology has long since moved past him. So, but he still kind of stands in as like the psychologist that people know exists.
Yeah,
like Dr. Marvin even had a bust of him in his apartment, or sorry, his office.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that would be like me, naming my kids Stan.
Right.
Like I would never do that.
And at least if you named your kids after Stan Lee, Stan is an ordinary enough name that people might ask about it once they got to know you better.
Mm-hmm.
Say, is there a kid named for the comic book guy?
Yeah. But yeah, so he's up there, and of course, there's a whole little subplot there about his house there at Lake Winnipesaukee, because when Bob arrives, and of course Leo Marvin's just like, what are you doing here, Bob? I'm on vacation, Bob.
This is a serious violation, Bob.
Yeah. And so the basically the whole movie is like him trying to like get rid of Bob, like Bob, go back to New York, and but Bob just can't take no for an answer.
Yep, just physically cannot take no for an answer.
Yeah, and what's funny is of course there's a couple of owns this coffee shop, and the house that Leo Marvin bought was their dream house, but he swooped in from under them and bought it. And of course, in their hatred for Leo Marvin, they go to Bob and they're like, "Hey, we'll tell you where he lives."
Right. Oh, what's this? A chance to spite the guy who spited us? Yes, please.
Yeah. And they keep rowing by the house on the lake, and he's like, "I have every right to buy this house."
Yep. So you mentioned your story with this. I think I'd seen this particular movie cover many, many times when I was at various rental stores back in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this thing was everywhere as far as I could tell. And it's quite funny. I think that my only issue with it is that the movie seems to be on Bob's side, and I actually kept waiting for the moment where it turned out Bob was just faking it.
Yeah.
Which didn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
Like, he just comes off as so inauthentic to me most of the time, so I'm just like, okay, is this going to be like the only sane man situation or what?
Right. Yeah. Well, it plays out that way because when he starts hanging around with the family, like the wife and kids love him. They think he's just, he's a really sweet guy, the little neurotic.
You just gotta give him a chance.
Yeah. And Leo just sees him as a patient. He's just a patient with a lot of problems.
Right. And so it just keeps being like, okay, it's like, is it going to turn out that he is like an axe murderer or something? Or
yeah.
like, when is the other shoe going to drop? And
Right.
it doesn't really.
No, it doesn't. No, and yeah, I'm trying to avoid giving away a lot of the jokes because like I genuinely want people to watch this movie if they haven't seen it. Like they really need to watch this movie.
Right, there's a lot to recommend it. Like I said,
Yeah,
my only complaint was I kept waiting for the plot twist that never arrived.
yeah,
That isn't a movie problem. That is a me thinking I'm smarter than the movie problem, or me thinking that I'm so insightful problem. You know?
right, yeah. And I will say another thing that I really liked about this movie, and I've been, and if you've been watching us for any length of time, and if we, when we've reviewed like comedies from this era, a criticism I usually have is that the third act tends to get really silly. Uh, that wasn't the case with this movie. I think the third act was perfect for the build up for what it built up to.
Right? Because he really is just driving Dreyfuss crazy. By the way, would this be a good time to talk about how he was actually driving Dreyfuss crazy?
Yes, let's do that. Yeah. Um, yeah, so the making of this movie is almost as interesting as the movie itself, where Bill Murray it was just basically he stayed in character like the whole time, and it was just driving Dreyfuss crazy. And not only that, but he was always improvising. Like if you ever know anything about Murray, that's kind of some a staple of his was just always doing ad lib and improv. And Dreyfuss is like the complete opposite. He's like, okay, you memorize your lines, you rehearse the scene, you do the scene, that's it.
We aren't the writers. We're here to execute.
Right. Yeah. And and not only that, but apparently, like I guess neither one of them liked each other very much.
Right, like they'd apparently met when Dreyfuss was the host of SNL, and they just didn't click.
Right. Yeah. And then yeah, then they reunited whatever 10, 11, 12 years later, and they still didn't like each other. And Dreyfuss called Murray a what was it, a drunk Irish bully.
Which, you know what? Uh, okay, so sidebar. I always thought that the reason that Bill Murray and Chevy Chase didn't get along was because Chevy Chase was a jerk. Well, you know the saying that if everywhere you go, everyone is an asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the asshole.
Maybe you're the asshole. Yeah.
Um, like I've definitely like had a shift on opinion of Bill Murray over the years, just from stories I've heard of him working with various people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely has a massive ego. Um, and yeah, he just likes doing things his own way. And you know, on top of this story with him and Dreyfuss, of course, he had that falling out with Harold Ramis when they were making Groundhog Day.
Right,
And
which
yeah,
it's like when I first heard about that, I thought, okay, like what, so sort of like legitimate creative differences. It's like, huh. Like I keep wanting to question that now. Like who was actually at fault?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
well, I'll definitely say for him is that he clearly cares about his craft, and he wants things to be right.
yeah,
It's just that he isn't afraid to needle other people in the process.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely a guy you need to separate the art from the artist. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, like this movie was apparently difficult to work on, in part because Frank Oz, the director, yes, Grover and Yoda, Frank Oz,
Yeah.
uh, decided to kind of embrace the chaos given the theme of the movie. So he didn't
Yes.
really stop the arguments, because it was like outside of the personal disagreement, it was also a disagreement about how the movie should be handled, because the ending we got was very different than the original ending.
Yeah. Yeah. The original ending, I think. Um, yeah, I don't know if that would have worked very well. I don't think.
Yeah, because like as I recall, the original ending was just he ends up institutionalized, right? And I'm being vague on purpose.
Right. Yeah. And then and Bob is his doctor.
Right. What they actually came up with was much more interesting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Still kind of like, oh my God, what, he was just kind of a blowhard who wanted to sell a probably useless pop psychology book. Did he
Yeah.
really deserve all that?
Yeah, there's a like it's a little overkill here.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. But no, yeah, but yeah, this movie is just like I would definitely put this movie in terms of especially with like Bill Murray movies. I put this like in the top 3 of his movies.
Yeah. No, definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it yet, and you're in the mood for a. I don't know if mean spirited comedy isn't necessarily the right word. You have to be in the mood to watch Dreyfuss be destroyed by something besides a shark.
Right. Yeah. Yes. And once again, like all of our movies, this is currently on Tubi. So you can watch it for free, but with ads. So.
Which okay, so I gotta say, as a platform, I appreciate that things like Tubi exist. On the flip side, their ad placement was rather aggressive this go around.
Yeah, it was. They need to. Yeah, they need to find a better place to put those ads because sometimes they'll put them like in mid sentence.
Yes, and it's wild to me that some of these ad-supported streaming services seem to have this problem, considering that most of the movies they're showing originated on TV, where they would be like dedicated spots for ad breaks that they could have copied from.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, let's hope they get that problem fixed at some point.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think we've
Oh, well.
said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeed.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring the bell. Buy some books. DB's new book is in the link down below. Confessions of the Magpie Wizard, Book 6, Corpsman, and Guardian Angel Part 2 is going to be launching on Kickstarter a week from tomorrow. So
excellent.
Want to get on. Yes, you want to get in on that. But until then, have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Good night.